I'm Vera Dune, 30, and I can tell the exact time by the way lobby candles smell. At 6:45 p.m. in Orlando, the wax leans tropical overripe mango, a little sunscreen, and the faint stress-sweet scent of families checking in after delayed flights. The glass doors breathe with the Florida heat every time they open. The bell staff knows me by the cadence of my heels. I manage operations at the Grand Palmetto, a luxury hotel with chandeliers that look like upside-down fireworks and carpets that hide 1,000 spilled slushies. My job is rhythm, guest flow, the invisible choreography of people, luggage, and expectations. And for 6 months, I'd been composing something better. I called it the Golden Hour Protocol, GHP, for short, a redesign for the 4:37:30 p.m. crush when the pool empties, flights land, and everyone wants keys, towels, and a miracle at the same time. New cue shapes. A digital pre-arrival text that turns phones into lobby beacons. Hot towel carts for Florida's sauna humidity. A runner roll paid an extra $2 per hour to solve micro pain points before they grew teeth. I piloted it on 2 weekends, quietly, with my team. We cut average check-in time by 6 minutes. We lifted our post-stay survey scores from meh to warm fuzzy. We got 3 unprompted reviews that used the word seamless, which in hotel language is like spontaneous applause. I sent the deck to my boss, Evan Pierce, on Sunday at 11:03 p.m. with a note. Excited to walk you through the rollout plan. Monday at 9 a.m. I watched him present it to the executive team with my name removed. Thanks everyone, Evan said, polished smile, navy suit. He's the type who can lean on a podium like it's a prop he ordered off the internet. This is a guest experience redesign for our peak hours. We're calling it the Golden Hour Protocol. My stomach went cold and then hot. He even kept the name. I sat 3 rows back, in the Arctic of the conference room, AC set to Arctic Penguin, hands in my lap because they were shaking. The screen flipped through my slides, while he explained why he, personally, believed the lobby should be re-squared, and the text messages should trigger based on geofencing, and not time. The graphs that I had exported at 1 a.m. to make them pretty showed up behind his head like loyal soldiers. No we, just I. He fielded a question about staff incentives like he'd lived behind the desk through spring break. He trotted out my line about anticipating human friction and let it land. It landed. At the end, our GM, a sharp woman who wore silence like jewelry, said, "Nice work, Evan." They clapped. My cheeks sizzled, my jaw locked. I blinked hard and counted the chandelier drops because if I looked at his face, my face would break. After, in the hallway outside that smelled like lemons and expensive carpet cleaner, Evan turned to me with that grin people use when they expect an assist. "Team win," he said. "Team," I repeated, like I was tasting the syllables to see if they contained poison. "Look," he said, lowering his voice, "you'll get credit internally. Don't make it a thing. Executives need to hear it from a director. I'm not a director. I'm an operations manager, with calluses from lugging linen carts and a brain that lives in flowcharts. I also have rent, a plant that refuses to thrive, and a father who texts me photos of weird birds he sees in the park like it's his hobby to make me smile." I smiled. The kind that doesn't reach the iris. "Of course," I said. He clapped my shoulder, as if I were a vending machine that needed a nudge. He walked away. I stood there and felt the lemon smell sour into something like metal. I went to the lobby to breathe. The Grand Palmetto lobby is a little theatrical acres of marble, tall fronds that pretend we're a jungle, and a pianist in the corner coaxing Disney songs into jazz. Families drifted in damp with pool water and sunblock. A little girl in a polka dot swimsuit was wrapped in a towel like a burrito and scowled at the world. A dad negotiated with a toddler over a lollipop like it was a hostage crisis. 2 teenagers laughed too loudly, alive with vacation. These are my people, not the conference room. At the front desk, Tasha, 5 feet of fury and false lashes, caught my eye. "You good?" she mouthed. I nodded too quickly. She squinted. She has a lie detector built into her retinas. I saw the deck, she said, lowering her voice as I leaned on the back counter. His name on it, yeah. Want me to accidentally spill a venti iced coffee on his laptop? I actually laughed. It startled me. I want to be undeniable, I said, before I could edit it. Tasha's smile sharpened. Then make it impossible for them to not see. A family needed a crib, a couple wanted a quiet room, a man argued about resort fees like they were a moral failing. I lost myself in the work for an hour. It steadied my heartbeat, it washed my thoughts, but the blood ran back to my face when my phone buzzed with a calendar invite. Exec debrief. Golden hour protocol, 9:30 a.m., Tuesday. The invite list was there, neat, and I wasn't on it. The sugar left my mouth. The pianist shifted into "A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes," and I wanted to throw the sheet music into the fountain. I ducked into the back office, a cramped space that smells like paper and coffee and money counting. I shut the door quietly and watched my reflection in the tiny glass panel. Brown hair back in a bun I'd stabbed with a pen, sweat halo on my collar, eyes like warning lights. Okay, I whispered to the petty cash box. Okay. I opened my laptop. Subject line: Golden Hour Protocol, pilot results, plus staff testimonials. I could blast its slide deck, cut down video clips from the floor, quotes from guests who used the magic words, smooth, no wait, felt seen. I could CC the GM, the regional VP, the group vice president, the guy who forgot my name at the holiday party but remembered Evans. Or, I could gather receipts that couldn't be ignored. I took a breath and clicked into our file logs. People forget software is nosy. It keeps a diary. Access times, IP addresses, edits, shares. There it was, my private pilot folder, shared with Evan at 11:05 p.m. Sunday. Accessed again from his laptop at 2:13 a.m. Monday. Downloaded at 2:18 a.m. And my eyes narrowed my title slide, by Vera Dune, edited at 7:26 a.m. I sat back and let it hit me like a wave. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was surgery. I thought about all the small moments that had trained me to swallow this. The, "You're really organized for your age." The, "We need to present a united front." The compliments that felt like leashes. The joke he made about my first name, sounding like a tech startup. Something inside me pivoted. I reopened the deck and clicked to the slide that mattered most. Survey comments. I had copied them verbatim, typos and all. Vera at the desk anticipated my needs before I even spoke. How did she do that? Manager with brown bun and fast hands is a genius. Whoever designed the new flow deserves a raise. I clipped those. I dragged in screenshots. I cut a 30-second video from the lobby camera of Tasha, intercepting a stroller traffic jam like she was directing a symphony. I recorded a voiceover in a low, steady voice. And then, because I am both kind and not stupid, I asked my team for quick quotes. Text me one line about what changed your shift. I sent to our group chat. Bubbles bloomed. Less eye daggers at the desk. I got to say yes more. I went home with feet that didn't scream. I pasted those into a slide called Staff Impact. I added the wage bump for runners and a note about turnover costs saved if people stayed. Money talks, love letters to labor, whisper. My cursor hovered over send. I didn't move. I could hear Evan's voice in my head. Don't make it a thing. I could hear my own voice underneath his, quieter but pure. Make it the thing. The office door eased open and a face slid in. Diego, our night auditor, still in his day clothes, which is to say a thrifted shirt that made him look like a cool geometry teacher. You look like you're about to press a nuclear button, he said. Maybe a small one, I said. Like, detonate only one career. He leaned against the filing cabinet. You want my advice? I nodded. Facts. Calm tone. Zero adjectives. I exhaled. Facts. Calm tone. Zero adjectives. He pointed at the screen where my mouse trembled over the to line, and CC legal. Because you know how to pick locks and you're about to open a door, make sure you're allowed inside. He wasn't wrong. We had a compliance officer who sat in the basement with spreadsheets and a soft, lethal voice. My fingers moved. 2. ELT, Palmetto, GM, compliance. Subject: Golden Hour Protocol, pilot data and source attribution. Body: attaching the pilot plan, raw data, survey screenshots, staff testimonials, and time-stamped access logs that show when files were shared and edited. Happy to present the rollout specifics and answer questions from the operations floor perspective. Vera. No heat, no flame, just water, clear and undeniable. Do you want to watch me hit send? I asked Diego. He smiled. Do you? I thought about my dad's bird photos. I thought about Tasha's lashes. I thought about the little polka dot girl and the mathematician-level stroller ballet. I thought about my name edited off a slide at 7:26 a.m. I pressed my finger against the trackpad and felt the tiny click as the button registered. And then my screen flashed. Message failed to send. Server error. I froze. Diego's smile died. What? I tried again. Same error. We both looked up as the office lights flickered, just once, like a blink. A new email appeared at the top of my inbox, flagged high priority, from an address I didn't recognize. Subject line: Golden Hour Protocol. I hadn't sent anything yet. My throat went tight. I clicked it open with hands that suddenly weren't steady. There was one line. Vera, if you want credit, meet me on level 3, service stairwell B, in 5 minutes. Come alone. I stared at the words, the cursor pulsing at the end like a heartbeat. Who is it? Diego asked. I swallowed. The taste of lemon and metal was back. I stood, grabbed my badge, and pushed open the door. Cover for me, I said. For what? He asked. For whatever this is, I said, and stepped into the hallway. The pianist played something bright and harmless. The elevator chimed. The air smelled like mango and rain. I walked toward the service stairs as my phone buzzed again, and I didn't look, because some things you have to face without a screen in front of you. I took the first step into the gray stairwell and let the door swing shut behind me. It clicked like a lock. I remember the sound first, the slow mechanical sigh of the air vent, pushing warm air through the service stairwell. Hotel stairwells always smell the same: dust, cleaning chemicals, and old carpet glue. The kind of place guests never see, but where the truth tends to hide. My heels clicked as I descended to level 3. My phone buzzed again, but I ignored it. Whoever had emailed me knew my name and what I was trying to send. That meant they were watching the network, or me. The fluorescent light flickered. Once, twice. A drip echoed from somewhere unseen. And then, footsteps. Vera? A man's voice called softly. I froze halfway down the landing. Who's there? The shadow appeared before the face. Tall, in a maintenance uniform. The badge said Kevin S. He raised his hands like I'd pulled a weapon instead of a glare. Easy. I'm with IT. It doesn't wear maintenance uniforms, I said. He smiled faintly. That's kind of the point. I didn't like that answer. Look, you don't know me, he continued, stepping closer, but I know what you were about to send, and I know why it didn't go through. How? Evan flagged your account this morning. Anything with Golden Hour Protocol or GHP in the subject line gets auto-blocked by the internal filter. Company property, his wording. My jaw clenched. He blocked me? He blocked the idea, Kevin said, and by extension, you. I stared at him, pulse pounding. Why are you telling me this? He leaned against the rail, voice low. Because I don't like thieves who get promoted, and because you're not the first one he's done this to. The words hit like a slap. Wait, I said. You're saying he's stolen from someone else before? Kevin nodded. Twice that I know of. Operations assistant in Miami and a front office lead in Tampa. Same pattern: he takes their data, changes the header, smiles for the execs, then leaves them looking like copycats. My stomach dropped. Why are you helping me? He hesitated. Because I was dating the assistant in Miami. She quit. I didn't. A short silence stretched between us, filled by the faint hum of the hotel's guts, pipes, vents, and secrets. What do you want me to do? I asked. Kevin stepped closer, voice steady. You already have the receipts, but you'll never get them through the network. You have to show the exec team in person on paper, or in the meeting room. He looked at his watch. Tomorrow's the 9:30 a.m. debrief, right? Yeah. Then you have less than 24 hours to make yourself unavoidable. My throat tightened. He'll shut me down if I try to walk in. Then don't walk in, Kevin said, eyes sharp. Crash it. That word buzzed in my head. Crash it. He reached into his pocket and handed me a small black USB drive. No label. This'll help. It's a clean copy of your original folder, timestamps, version history, IP trails, downloaded before he locked it. I took it carefully. You could get fired for this. He shrugged. Something about the honesty of that made me laugh, quietly, like I hadn't in hours. Thanks, I said. Don't thank me yet, he said. If you're gonna play this right, you'll need allies. Like who? Anyone who's seen you do the work, he said. Desk staff, runners, people who'll stand up when you show the truth. He glanced toward the stairwell door. And Vera, watch your inbox. If he suspects you know, he'll try to bury you before you make it to that meeting. Then he left, vanished up the steps as quietly as he'd appeared. I stood there alone, heart thudding, fingers tight around the USB. The stairwell light flickered again. This time, I took it as a sign. Back in the operations office, Diego was waiting. He had that look, half curiosity, half concern. You just walked into a horror movie and came back alive, he said. Want a debrief? I shut the door behind me and lowered my voice. Evan's blocking my emails. Diego blinked. Like all of them? Anything with GHP in the title. Wow, he said. That's subtle. I plugged the USB into my laptop and watched the files populate clean, time-stamped, untouched. It was all there. Who gave you that? Diego asked. Someone who knows how to hide in plain sight, he whistled. You've got a spy movie brewing. More like a reckoning. We worked until midnight. He printed color copies of the pilot data. I edited the video clips to under 2 minutes, just enough to hit hard and fast. We practiced what I'd say if I got 2 minutes in that room. By 1 a.m., the lobby was quiet, the marble echoing like an empty cathedral. Get some sleep, Diego said. You'll need your game face. Sleep's overrated, I said, though I was already wobbling. I drove home through rain that turned the streetlights into streaks. My apartment smelled like laundry and jasmine candles. My reflection in the window looked like someone I didn't fully recognize. Tired, wired, dangerous. I rehearsed what I'd say in the mirror. I designed the golden hour protocol. No, this plan came from my team. Better, but still safe. Too small. What I wanted to say was, you stole from the wrong woman. The next morning, I wore black. Not for drama, but for focus. The hotel lobby buzzed with executives in tailored suits. Evan was already there, coffee in hand, shaking hands like a politician. When his eyes met mine, he smiled that empty smile again. Morning, Vera. No hard feelings? I smiled back, controlled. None. Break a leg in there. He nodded, not realizing that I meant it. At 9:29, I slipped into the service hallway behind the conference room. I could hear muffled voices, Evan's presentation in progress. My heart hammered so loud it could have tripped a fire alarm. Through the crack in the door, I saw him click through slides. My slides, my work. I glanced at my phone. Anyone? 9:33. Time. I straightened, held the folder tight, and pushed the door open. The sound in the room flattened into silence. Every head turned. Excuse the interruption, I said, calm, clear. But since the golden hour protocol is under review, the person who actually designed it should probably be present. Evan's jaw actually dropped. I'd never seen him lose composure before. Vera, he said tightly, this is a closed meeting. It's about my work, I replied, holding up the folder. So I'll stay for 2 minutes, that's all I'll need. The GM leaned back, eyes sharp. Go on, Vera. I walked to the front. The air felt thick, electric. My pulse synced with every step. I placed the papers on the table, beside Evan's laptop. These are the original files, I said, with timestamps showing who created and modified them. You'll notice that at 7:26 a.m. yesterday, my name was deleted from the title slide. Someone shifted in their chair. Another cleared their throat. I clicked my USB into the laptop. The screen behind me changed video playback. The lobby scene played, guests smiling, staff moving efficiently, my voiceover steady. This is what we changed. This is how it felt to the guest. The silence afterward was absolute. I turned to face them. Our guests noticed. Our team noticed. I just wanted to make sure leadership noticed too. The GM's gaze locked on Evan. Is that true? He opened his mouth but no sound came. And that's when the door opened again. Everyone turned. It was HR, and they weren't smiling. Sorry to interrupt, the HR director said, eyes on me. Vera, we need to speak privately. Now, the room tensed. My stomach dropped. Evan's expression changed relief first, then triumph. I realized, too late, that he'd been ready for this. Of course, I said slowly, forcing calm. Is there a problem? The HR director's voice was polite but clipped. We've received a complaint regarding misuse of company data. Please come with me, the room murmured. Evan looked down, pretending not to watch me. I picked up my folder, spine straight. Then let's talk. And as I followed her out, every eye in that room followed me. But what they didn't see, what Evan couldn't see, was the small recording light still blinking on Diego's phone, hidden under the presentation table. Because this time, I wasn't walking into a trap. I was building one. HR offices are like purgatory neutral carpet, fake plants, and the faint smell of burnt coffee and tension. I sat in the small glass room, while the HR director, a woman named Marisol, scrolled silently through her laptop. Her nails clicked like a metronome. Across the table, I folded my hands to keep them from shaking. You understand why we asked you here, Miss Dune? Not exactly, I replied. Unless the problem is presenting the truth. She didn't smile. We received a report that you accessed restricted company data outside of your authorization level, and that you shared internal files with external recipients. I blinked. External recipients? She nodded, turning the laptop toward me. There was a screenshot of an email apparently sent from my account to a competitor hotel chain in Tampa. Attached. Golden Hour Protocol. PDF. That's not me, I said, heat crawling up my neck. That's fabricated. Marisol's expression didn't change. It came from your user ID, Vera. It also came from a system that my boss tampered with 12 hours ago, I shot back. He blocked my emails, remember? If anyone could fake a message from me, it's him. She paused. For the first time, something in her eyes softened doubt maybe. You're saying Evan Pierce did this? I'm saying Evan Pierce stole my work, tried to silence me, and now, he's framing me. Silence. Just the hum of the AC, Marisol exhaled slowly. We'll review the logs. But you understand how serious this is, right? I nodded. Yeah. That's why I came with evidence. I slid the printed folder across the table. Timestamps. File access. My original pilot submission. And testimonials from my team people who saw me design and test the process. She took it carefully, like it might explode. Keep that, I said. And maybe check who's been deleting audit trails in the last 24 hours. You'll find your answer. Her brow furrowed. Deleting audit trails? Yeah, that's not something a hotel manager usually knows how to do, I said. But apparently, Evan does. I stood, steady. I'll wait for your call. When I opened the door, the hall outside looked brighter than it should have. That strange feeling of adrenaline mixed with clarity, it's addictive. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the variable. Tasha was waiting for me at the service desk when I came back down. She saw my face and straightened immediately. Girl, what happened? They tried to suspend me. Her eyes widened. What? For what? For something I didn't do. He forged an email, sent my plan to a competitor. Tasha's hands went to her hips. Oh hell no. Exactly. Diego appeared from the side hallway, phone in hand, the little red recording light off now. You good? Define good, I said. I got the full recording from the meeting, he said, grinning like someone who'd just discovered fire. Every word. Evan's voice introducing himself as the creator of your plan. Video and audio. My breath caught. You got it? Crystal clear, he said. Also caught your mic drop moment and the GM's face when you showed those files. Chef's kiss. I laughed, short and sharp. Diego, you're a saint. Saint of petty justice, he said proudly. You want me to send it out? Not yet, I said, thinking. If we drop it now, Evan spins it as emotional retaliation. We need to make it impossible for him to rewrite the story. Tasha crossed her arms. So what's the plan, boss lady? I looked at them, my team, my proof, my backbone. We go bigger, I said. That night, the Grand Palmetto hosted its annual executive mixer, drinks, smiles, and surface-level sincerity. The kind of event where everyone pretends to like everyone else, because the bar is open and the bonuses depend on it. Evan was there, of course. Navy suit again. Same smile. He looked untouchable under the gold chandeliers, but power only works if people believe in the story behind it. And I was about to rewrite the story. At 7:05 p.m., I changed out of my uniform and into a black jumpsuit that meant business. My badge got me into the control room near the ballroom, the nerve center for lighting, music, and the projector feed. Diego slipped in behind me, holding a laptop. You sure about this? He whispered. I nodded. We're not hacking anything. We're showing truth. On their own screens. He gave me a look that was half admiration, half terror. You've gone full Ocean's 11, huh? Closer to Legally Blonde but meaner, I said. I queued up the recording. Evan's voice, smooth and confident. I designed the golden hour protocol. Then my voice. These are the original files, with timestamps showing who created and modified them. The contrast was surgical. Perfect. We waited for the right moment, the awards segment, where the GM recognized innovations improving guest satisfaction. I could hear applause through the wall. The GM took the mic. And this year, we're recognizing a process that improved guest experience by 18%, the Golden Hour Protocol, led by Director of Operations, Evan Pierce. Applause thundered. Then the screens behind her flickered. The applause faltered. And there it was, the video. Evan's voice claiming credit, followed by mine, clear, calm, undeniable. Then, the file logs, the timestamps, the truth, unedited and unfiltered. The room gasped. The GM turned slowly toward Evan, whose face had drained to white. He looked like someone who'd just realized the chandelier was about to fall. From the control room, Diego whispered. You're trending, boss, I whispered back. I'm not done yet. I stepped out into the ballroom, calm, measured, the kind of walk you practice for your own salvation. Every eye turned as I approached the front. Sorry, I said, voice steady. Just wanted to make sure the right person got recognized. The silence was thick enough to chew. The GM set down the mic. Vera, your presentation this morning was impressive. It seems we need to have a discussion. Yes, ma'am, I said, preferably before the next awards category. Evan finally found his voice. This is outrageous, she hacked our system. I looked at him evenly. I showed evidence. That's not hacking, Evan. That's integrity. The GM's jaw tightened. Evan, step outside. Now. The entire ballroom watched him go. His steps echoed against the marble like a countdown. When the doors shut behind him, the applause started, not polite, but real. The kind that hits your ribs and tells you maybe, just maybe, you weren't crazy to fight. Tasha whooped from the back. Diego pumped his fist. For a second, it felt like victory. But then, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One line of text. Nice show, but you just made an enemy with friends in higher places. The buzz of the crowd faded. My stomach dropped. I looked toward the exit where Evan had gone. Through the glass, I saw him outside, phone to his ear, walking fast. Whatever he was planning next, it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The morning after the mixer, the hotel lobby felt like a stage. After the curtain fell confetti of gossip everywhere, silence between the lines. People didn't make eye contact, but they whispered. I could feel it ripple through the air like static. By 8 a.m., everyone in management had seen the video, and by 8:15, Evan Pierce was no longer in the building. I found out through a text from Diego. He's been placed on administrative leave. HR looks like they aged 10 years overnight. I exhaled. A long, shaky breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for months. For about 3 minutes, I let myself believe the storm had passed. Then my phone rang. Vera Dune? The voice was clipped, professional. This is Alan Cook, Regional Vice President. I'd like to see you in my office at 10, downtown. My pulse quickened. Alan Cook, Evan's mentor. The man who'd fast-tracked his career. Yes, sir, I said, my throat dry. Bring your documentation, he said. All of it. He hung up before I could ask why. His office downtown looked like it had been designed by a corporate vampire, dark wood, cold light, a view of the city like prey beneath glass. He didn't shake my hand. He gestured to the chair across from him. Expression unreadable. Quite the spectacle last night, he said. I didn't plan for it to go public, I replied carefully. I just wanted the truth seen. He steepled his fingers. Truth, Vera, is a flexible commodity in this business. I met his gaze. So is loyalty. He studied me, a small smile flickering. Evan tells me you have a habit of dramatizing professional disagreements. I almost laughed. He did, Alan said evenly. He also sent me a report, one that suggests you breached confidentiality, accessed secured systems, and embarrassed the company on a public level. My stomach twisted. So, he's still controlling the narrative. Alan leaned forward. The board wants to know whether keeping you on staff exposes us to risk. Evan may have made mistakes, but he's been with us for 9 years. You're newer, meaning easier to replace, I said flatly. He didn't deny it. I took out my folder, the one with all the receipts, the evidence, the truth, and placed it between us like a loaded weapon. Sir, I didn't steal anything. I created the system. I improved guest satisfaction by double digits, and I have video proof of Evan claiming credit for it. Alan's tone stayed smooth. That video shouldn't have been shown at a company function. It wouldn't have needed to be, I said, if someone in leadership had listened before that. He sighed and leaned back. You're talented, Vera. I'll give you that. But corporate success isn't about being right, it's about being strategic. Strategic? I repeated. You mean quiet. He smiled thinly. I mean knowing which battles are worth fighting, and which ones end careers. I realized what he was offering wasn't advice, it was a warning. Are you firing me? I asked. Not yet, he said. But if you value your future in hospitality, I suggest you make this incident disappear. Withdraw the claims. Let it rest. You'll get a transfer, maybe even a bonus. Clean slate. The air in the room felt heavy. He thought I could be bought. I thought about all the nights I stayed late fixing the lobby schedule. The way Tasha called me boss lady with pride. The way guests said seamless. The way Evan smiled when he erased my name. I don't want a transfer, I said quietly. I want credit. And accountability. Alan's expression hardened. Then you'd better lawyer up. He pressed a button on his desk. The meeting was over. Outside, Orlando shimmered in that too bright way it does before rain. I walked 3 blocks without realizing where I was going, replaying every word. Lawyer up. I didn't have a lawyer. I barely had time for lunch most days. But I did have an ally, someone who knew how to navigate the darker corners of corporate tech. I called Kevin, the maintenance guy, who wasn't really maintenance. He picked up on the second ring. You just left Cook's office? You heard already? News travels fast when executives panic, he said. What'd he say? That I can make this all go away for a price. Classic, Kevin muttered. You're in the phase where they try to isolate and discredit you. Any advice? I asked. Yeah, he said. Don't fight in their arena. Make them fight in yours. I frowned. Meaning? Use the one thing they can't spin data. If we can trace the audit deletions and show where Evan covered his tracks, that's your nuke. Can you do that? A pause. If you can buy me 6 hours of system access, yeah. Done, I said. That evening, the hotel hummed with unease. Everyone had seen the headlines on the internal board: Grand Palmetto under review, after presentation incident. Corporate PR had sanitized it, of course. No names, just a miscommunication. But people knew. When I walked through the lobby, staff nodded subtly, like silent allies in a quiet war. Tasha leaned over the counter as I passed. You look like you're planning something illegal. Not illegal, I said. Just inconvenient for liars. Same difference, she smirked. I went down to the IT subfloor, a place guests never see. Kevin was there, hunched over a terminal, screen glow painting his face. Welcome to the underbelly, he said. The hum of servers filled the air. He slid me a chair. Here's what I found. Evan accessed the HR database at 2:43 a.m. last night, after he was supposedly suspended. Guess what he changed? I leaned closer. My employee record? Bingo. He added a disciplinary note and created a time-stamped log of that fake email you sent. He even made it look like you used a remote connection. My stomach turned. He's still covering his tracks. Kevin nodded. But here's the thing. He slipped. The edits came from an external VPN registered to a personal laptop, not company property. I traced the IP. I looked at him. Where? He turned the monitor toward me. His condo downtown. I exhaled, slow. So, if I can show this to HR and legal, they'll have no choice but to reopen everything, Kevin finished. The cursor blinked on the screen between us. Proof. Cold, undeniable digital proof. Send me the files, I said. He hesitated. You sure? Once this goes live, there's no undoing it. You'll burn bridges all the way up the chain. Good, I said. They built those bridges out of lies anyway. An hour later, the documents were in my inbox, encrypted, labeled Truth Backup, zip. I forwarded them to Marisol in HR with a short message. You wanted audit trails. These are the ones Evan forgot to erase. Then I sat back, exhaustion catching up to me. Outside, thunder rolled across the skyline. It wasn't over. But for the first time, the storm wasn't just coming for me. It was coming for them. The next morning, I walked into work and saw something I hadn't seen in weeks. Smiles. Real ones, Tasha whispered. They're talking about reinstating your proposal under your name. But before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Smart move with HR, but you're not ready for what's next. E. I looked up, scanning the lobby. And there, in the reflection of the glass doors, I saw him. Evan, standing outside, watching me. He raised his coffee cup in a mock toast, and then he mouthed two words that chilled me. Nice try. He was back. Evan Pierce, supposedly on leave, standing just outside the Grand Palmetto's glass doors, like a ghost who hadn't gotten the memo that he was dead. The automatic doors hissed open as guests came and went, the Florida heat rolling in waves between us. He didn't come inside, he just stood there, coffee in hand, watching me, and smiling. That same polished, too-white smile that made people trust him. The one that once made me think he was harmless. Now it looked like a weapon. I turned away first. Because that's what you do when you're being hunted in daylight. Tasha saw my face and leaned across the desk. He's here, isn't he? Outside, I whispered. He's not supposed to be anywhere near the property. You want me to call security? I shook my head. Not yet. If he was bold enough to show up in public, he had a reason. And I needed to know what it was before I reacted. By noon, HR confirmed receipt of the audit files Kevin had traced. Marisol called me personally. Vera, I reviewed your email, she said. We're validating the metadata now. But if this holds up, it's damning. The VPN trail ties directly to Evan's personal laptop. Then this is over, I said. She hesitated. Not quite. Alan Cook has intervened. My pulse jumped. What does that mean? He's claiming the files were doctored, she said quietly. He wants our forensic team to pause the review. I closed my eyes, gripping the edge of my desk. So, the company's protecting him. It's not that simple, she said. Evan's family has influence. The board knows them personally. There's pressure to handle this internally. I laughed bitterly. Of course there is. Marisol's voice softened. You've made powerful enemies, Vera. Be careful. Click. Call ended. I stared at the phone for a long time. So that was their plan: delay, deflect, discredit. If I wanted justice, I'd have to drag the truth out into the light myself. At 4:30 p.m., as the lobby filled with guests and chatter, Diego slipped me a folded note. He left this at the desk, he whispered. Didn't say a word. The paper was hotel stationery. Evan's handwriting too neat, deliberate. You're playing checkers. I'm playing chess. Meet me tonight, 9 p.m., Lake Eola Park, bench 5. I read it twice, heartbeat loud in my ears. Tell me you're not going, Diego said. I need to know what he's planning, I replied. Or he's setting you up again. Then I'll be ready this time. The park at night was half empty, only the soft slap of water against the shore and the hum of crickets. Streetlights flickered like nervous glances. Bench 5 was under a live oak, the kind with roots that looked like they could strangle secrets. He was already there, of course. Always early. Always composed. Vera, he said, standing as I approached. Glad you came. I kept my distance. Make it quick, he smirked. You've made quite the name for yourself. Hero of the staff. Champion of integrity. I just told the truth, I said. He tilted his head. You think this is about truth? This is about survival. Then, you shouldn't have stolen what wasn't yours. His smile thinned. You think I needed your little process redesign to impress the execs? I've been doing this long before you got here. You just made the mistake of believing the company cared about your name. He stepped closer. They don't. They care about profit, optics, control. You embarrassed them in front of investors, and now they'll burn both of us to keep their image clean. I stared at him. Then why are you warning me? Because you can still walk away, he said. Delete the files. Say you overreacted. Let this fade. I'll make sure you get a quiet promotion somewhere else. A better title, a bigger check. It took everything in me not to laugh. So that's it, I said. You destroy my work, smear my name, then offer me hush money, dressed up as a promotion? He sighed. It's not hush money, it's business. The smart move. I looked at him, really looked. The suit, the calmness, the entitlement carved into his posture. You know what your problem is, Evan? I said. You think strategy is the same as morality, but it's not. It's just cowardice with better PR. His eyes went cold. You're making a mistake. No, I said. You did. I turned to leave. Vera. His voice was lower now. A warning, not a plea. You walk away from this, and I promise you you'll regret it. People like me don't lose. I didn't even look back. Then, you haven't met the right opponent. When I got home, my hands were still shaking. I double-locked the door and checked my windows like I was being hunted. My laptop pinged a message from Kevin. Cook just called it. They're trying to shut down access to all files tied to your account. You need to back everything up now. I plugged in my external drive, copying every document, every email, every digital breadcrumb that proved what had happened. But halfway through, my screen went black, then flashed blue, then dead. I stared at the blank display, my reflection faint against the glass. Another message appeared on my phone seconds later. Unauthorized device detected on the network, account locked. They were cutting me out digitally, erasing me. Not today, I whispered. I grabbed my phone, drove straight to Kevin's apartment, and banged on his door until he opened it, half asleep, wearing a NASA t-shirt. What happened? He asked. They nuked my access, I said. Everything. I need your help. He motioned me inside. Sit. I'll pull your cloud backups. You stored copies on your personal Gmail, right? Of course, I said. I'm paranoid, not stupid. He grinned faintly. Good. Then we still have cards to play. He typed fast, screens reflecting in his glasses. Lines of code scrolled. There, he said. We've got your entire digital trail. Everything from the pilot test to your recorded presentation. You're untouchable now. I let out a breath of relief, but then he frowned. Wait, he said. There's a new email in your personal inbox. Just came in. He opened it carefully. Subject: Final notice, legal action pending. Body: Cease and desist all dissemination of proprietary material. You are in violation of confidentiality clauses under Section 4B of your employment contract. Failure to comply will result in legal prosecution. Signed, Alan Cook, Regional VP. I felt the blood drain from my face. They're suing me, I whispered. Kevin looked at me, eyes steady. Then it's time to stop defending yourself. I frowned. What do you mean? I mean, he said, leaning closer. It's time to go public. I stared at him. You mean the media? Exactly. You have proof, witnesses, timestamps, and video. If the company won't listen, the world will. I hesitated. That could ruin me. He shrugged. Or it could save you. Outside, thunder cracked again, closer this time. I looked at the storm through the window, then back at the files glowing on his screen. The company wanted silence. Evan wanted control. I wanted justice. And justice, I decided, was worth the noise. By sunrise, I'd made my choice. No more silence. No more boardroom whispers and backroom warnings. The truth needed daylight. Kevin brewed a pot of coffee strong enough to peel paint. Once we do this, he said, there's no going back. They'll blacklist you in the industry. Then they can try, I said, sliding my USB into his laptop. Let's make some noise. We uploaded everything: the audit logs, Evan's forged emails, the security footage from the ballroom, even the deleted HR edits Kevin had recovered. We packaged it like a story, a timeline of theft, silence, and retaliation. Kevin looked at me. We could send it to the press, or, he grinned. We could go viral first. That's how the idea of the Golden Hour Truth was born, a name that sounded just corporate enough to sting. At 9:12 a.m., I posted the first thread on social media. My name is Vera Dune. I'm a hotel operations manager in Orlando. A month ago, my boss stole my work. Last week, my company tried to erase me. Here's what really happened. Each tweet carried screenshots, videos, voice clips. I wrote it like a confession, not a complaint. Calm, clear, factual, and people read it. Fast. Within an hour, my phone was vibrating nonstop. Comments, shares, duets, reporters tagging me. Tasha texted, "Girl, your trending has shown. Evan's name is in every comment section." Diego, just saw a hospitality influencer calling you the Aaron Brockovich of hotels. By noon, local Orlando news picked it up. Then, national outlets. By 2 p.m., Hospitality Insider ran the headline, "Hotel Manager Exposes Corporate Sabotage, Inside the Golden Hour Scandal." And by 3 p.m., Alan Cook was calling my phone. I didn't answer. Instead, I watched the notifications scroll like waves, thousands of people sharing their own stories, ideas stolen, voices silenced, credits erased. It wasn't just my fight anymore. It had become a mirror. By evening, the Grand Palmetto's PR team had released a statement. "We are aware of recent online allegations and are conducting a full internal review. Corporates speak for we're cornered." But that wasn't the end. Evan resurfaced online, not in person, with a post of his own. It's unfortunate that personal grievances have been turned into a social media circus. My work speaks for itself. Then he added screenshots of his own emails, fabricated timestamps, of course to make it look like he'd led the project all along. And suddenly, the internet split in two. Half of them believed me. Half wanted proof beyond screenshots. That's when Kevin sent me a message. "They're trying to bury you in doubt. Time for the nuke." He uploaded the final piece of evidence we'd been saving. A screen recording of Evan deleting my name from the project file metadata, captured directly from the system log. His cursor, his credentials, his timestamp. Undeniable. We posted it at 7:03 p.m. The internet did what it does best: it exploded. Comments turned from debate to outrage. News anchors used phrases like corporate sabotage and systemic sexism. An executive at a rival hotel chain publicly offered me a job. By midnight, I'd gone from a name on a complaint file to a national headline, and for the first time in weeks, I slept. The call came 2 days later. "Miss Dune," Marisol said, her voice steadier than before. "You'll want to be here for this." I drove to the Grand Palmetto in silence. The parking lot shimmered under the noon heat. Reporters stood outside with cameras like vultures in linen shirts. Inside, everything smelled like new carpet and nervousness. When I entered the conference room, the air was different, less power, more panic. Alan Cook sat at the head of the table, pale and drawn. HR on one side, legal on the other. The GM, calm, collected, sat in the center. Evan wasn't there yet, until the door opened, and he walked in, wearing the same navy suit. But this time, his confidence had a crack in it. Alan cleared his throat. "Let's make this quick. The board has reviewed the evidence circulating online. There are substantial concerns." "Substantial?" I repeated. That's one word for caught on camera. No one laughed. Marisol opened a folder. "Our forensics confirm the file alterations originated from Mr. Pierce's personal device. He also accessed Miss Dune's employee record post-suspension. That constitutes a breach of both ethics and IT security policy." Evan's jaw clenched. "This is ridiculous." She framed me. The GM turned her gaze to him, sharp as glass. "Evan, there's a video of your login ID deleting her name." His composure cracked. "That's been doctored." Alan pinched the bridge of his nose. "Enough. The damage is done." The GM looked at me. "Vera, on behalf of the company, I want to personally apologize. Your redesign, the Golden Hour Protocol, will be credited under your name moving forward. Effective immediately." I blinked. "You're reinstating it?" "Yes," she said. "And we're offering you a promotion, Director of Guest Experience. You'll lead implementation across all our Florida properties." The room tilted slightly. It didn't feel real. I glanced at Evan. His face had gone blank, like the color had drained out of his world. "Wait," he said. "You're rewarding her for this circus?" Alan's tone was weary. "You're terminated, Evan. Effective immediately." He laughed once, bitterly. "You think this fixes anything? You just made her the face of your PR recovery." Then he turned to me, voice low. "You didn't win, Vera. You just became part of their machine." For a moment, I believed him. Then I remembered the faces of my team, the people who'd believed in me before anyone else did. "No," I said quietly. "I rebuilt it." He stared at me for a heartbeat too long before security stepped forward. And as they escorted him out, I finally exhaled. Not victory, just relief. Outside, reporters waited. Flashbulbs popped. Microphones thrust forward. "Miss Dune, how does it feel to be vindicated?" I smiled, steady and small, like the truth finally checked in. They laughed. Cameras clicked. But behind the noise, behind the chaos, I felt something else, peace. I thought of the lobby candles, the sound of rolling suitcases, the quiet rhythm of guests arriving and leaving, the choreography I'd fallen in love with, and I thought of all the people who'd messaged me online, saying my story gave them courage. That was the real victory. A week later, I stood on the balcony of the Grand Palmetto at sunset, watching the sky turn mango and gold, the real golden hour. Diego joined me, soda can in hand. "So, Director Dune," he said, grinning. "Feels good, huh?" I laughed softly. "It feels clean. Corporate legend status unlocked," he teased. "Let's not call it that," I said. "Legends get remembered. I'd rather be respected." He raised his can. "To respect, then." We clinked. Below us, the lobby buzzed, new systems running smoothly, guests smiling, staff laughing. The machine finally working the way it should. Kevin texted me a single line later that night. "Justice served. File closed." I smiled at the screen. "No," I whispered. "Just reopened. Because justice wasn't just about one story. it was a movement. Epilogue. 3 months later, Forbes Travel Review published an article, How One Manager Redefined Guest Experience and Corporate Accountability. The feature ended with a quote from me, "Revenge is loud, but integrity? Integrity echoes longer. If you can know they had now, said it in for way, what it heard." And I meant it. Because revenge got me noticed. But integrity made me undeniable. And that finally was enough.